I saw the poster for this Channing Tatum movie, and after seeing his very brief but very powerful cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine, I thought, I don't see Channing Tatum in movies much anymore. I wouldn't mind seeing this blink twice thriller movie. How bad could it be? Really bad. Like, really bad. Hello, my friends, and welcome to The Pondering. I am the real-life fake wizard. If this video brings you any value at all, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, where we're posting new videos nearly every day. If I may ask of you, please like this video, engage with it however you see fit. This movie is going to be gone in negative minutes from the zeitgeist, and therefore this video will be out of the algorithm in about 12 hours. Please engage with it so some people see it. For me to properly address and review and critique this film, I should warn you, similarly to the movie itself that warns you with a trigger warning at the movie's opening, I'm going to use my own real-world experiences through this video as something to compare and draw on when discussing what this movie's message was. And don't get it twisted, this is not a thriller movie to make you think. This is not a weekend flick to pass the time. This is a highly propagandistic film with clear ideological messaging. Not even from a political standpoint. This film is apolitical. It just hates half the human species. Spoilers ahead for Blink Twice 2024. The film opens with female protagonist and female protagonist's friend at an art gala where there are filthy rich people. They take time to introduce that these two women are not financially well off, very much struggling to pay rent. And our female protagonist is quite clumsy and falls down in front of Channing Tatum's evil white man. And that's what I'm going to call him for the rest of the review, since that's all the film wants you to leave the theater thinking about him as. Evil white man helps female protagonist to her feet, they flirt, and by the end of the gala, both of the female friends are invited to travel with evil white man and his band of friends, and I make big bunny ear quotations in the air over friends, to evil white man's personal island. It is established at the beginning that evil white man is filthy rich and famous, but is going through a personal branding issue after having to make one of those fake YouTuber apology videos for something heinous he got caught doing. No matter, both women accept the invitation without asking any important questions and fly off to the island. And it's on this island that things are going to go very wrong. Couple of things so far. Number one, if you see a trailer, look at the poster, or read the plot synopsis, the movie is virtually spoiled. It's given away right there. Quote, when tech billionaire evil white man meets cocktail waitress female protagonist, sparks fly. He invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation on his private island. It's paradise. No one wants this trip to end, but as strange things start to happen, female protagonist begins to question her reality. There is something wrong with this place. She'll have to uncover the truth if she wants to make it out of this party alive. I'm not sure about everyone else, but using the context clues I learned in the 3rd grade, it's evident that Channing Tatum's evil white man is up to no good. And because you know that already, you'll spend all of Act 1, which is stupid long, just waiting for the hammer to drop and the truth to be revealed. Now, on the surface, and in the moment of watching the film, I'm in. He could be a bad guy, he could be a horrible, awful monster, but you gotta give me a reason. You gotta sell me. And the reason for his malevolence needs to be satisfying. Otherwise, you've wasted my time and the rest of the paying customers who've driven to this shithole movie theater that has only one working bathroom stall. And so our female protagonist gets to this island, and we have to watch about 35 minutes of these men and women engaging in frivolous rich people activities like lounging by the pool all day, doing copious amounts of drugs and alcohol, having personal chefs make you food, and engaging in hedonism and self-gratification all the livelong day. And each morning, all the women on the island use this very particular perfume wherein they forget things very easily. Things start to go sour when female protagonist's friend is bitten by one of the scarily invasive local snakes with magical memory venom, and shit hits the fan. I will give this movie credit for doing the Chekhov's gun correctly. There are a few times where things that are set up in Act 1 are called upon in later acts, and it's kind of neat. But don't let that fool you, because the character motivations are empty or fleeting. At the point of female protagonist's friend, maybe Funke from Arrested Development, getting injured, there's a very clear scene that sets the precedent that will cascade into the film's finale. I said they did the Chekhov's gun thing well, but I wonder if they realized this scene I'm discussing was a precursor to a reveal that came at the end. The female protagonist is a selfish piece of shit. Maybe Funke, after being bitten by the snake, says that she thinks there's something wrong and wants to go home. She's waking up to what's happening. The magical snake venom is revealing all the awful memories that were being suppressed. The female protagonist dismisses these pleas for help, saying, "Don't ruin this for me." As in, evil white man is paying attention to me and giving me the lifestyle of the rich and famous. Don't ruin it because you're having a moment. As an audience member, in any story, you're supposed to root for someone. You're supposed to care about what happens to some of the characters, usually the protagonist. And the protagonists can be flawed. They can be wrong. They can fail. They can be lesser than. In fact, we prefer when they are because we are flawed ourselves. So we connect with characters that are deeply flawed because we can empathize with who they are. But what we don't necessarily connect with are narcissistic traits. Selfishness with no sympathy or empathy for anyone else is normally associated with the villains, because selfishness and narcissism are traits of people who inflict pain and harm onto others. So when female protagonist dismisses her friend's pleas for help for selfish reasons, I have a hard time rooting for you now because you're willing to step over your friends for personal gain. And that's what shitty people do. Now, you may have seen the movie and you may refute my claim saying female protagonist is under the effect of the magical forget-me perfume, but I would say that's a good point. I'd love to challenge you on that, but neither you or I can really flesh that out because the movie didn't flesh it out. Evil white man Channing Tatum is harvesting the invasive magical snakes to get their venom and produce this mind wipe perfume, which they then sell to, I assume, uber wealthy people, so that they can commit atrocities on people, spray the perfume, and the victim forgets. But the problem with a memory wipe MacGuffin like this, you didn't establish any rules for it. It just works when the movie wants it to work, in the way the script needs it to work. The women magically forget just enough of what happened in the night for them to wake up the next morning like nothing happened. But how is the potion working to isolate the specific memories that are forgotten? How and when is the potion working? Here's where things begin to get real intense. The island is filled with evil white men, plural. Channing Tatum, Christian Slater, other guy, and Haley Joel Osment are the, what I'll just call, abusers. And every night, they abuse these women, do awful things to them, and then the women wake up the next morning with no memory of the abuse. It's pretty bad stuff, but it's not at all explained why or how the memory wipe potion does what it does. We also don't get any explanation why ingesting the snake venom directly is the cure to the memory wipe effects. Like if I use the memory wipe potion because I want to forget an embarrassing moment from my youth, which is something the Channing Tatum character says he does in the film, how can I make sure I forget tripping up the stairs comically in the 8th grade and not forget saying a last goodbye to a grandparent? You know what I mean? And asking questions like this immediately makes the film fall apart, because the little details need to make sense. And as a paying customer, I deserve to get the full story. You, the writer, set up this grandiose plot of idiotic women blindly going to evil white man's island selfishly without asking questions and with the intent on getting a piece of the evil white man's good life, who are then poisoned by magical snake potion and cured by magical snake venom that makes them forget and or remember hyper-specific traumatic moments. But you don't take the time to explain how any of it works, and you don't believe it because I believe you yourself don't have the answers. Because this film is not a film you question or read into. Haha, foolish customer. You're not supposed to care about the lore. This is a propaganda film. Nothing will make sense, but we'll get a few monologues in about how awful and evil all men are. The evil white guys are bringing these poor women to the island, abusing them, and sometimes killing them because of reasons? ? There is never an explicit explanation why these men are doing these psychopathic, malevolent things, other than a few throwaway dialogue lines in passing like, quote, "Forgetting is a gift," Men are going to do what they're going to do. So all these guys just abuse these women because they can? Is that it? Is that what I'm supposed to walk away with? Oh, I see. It's another one of those plot points that they didn't care to iron out because it's supposed to represent how the writer views all men viewing women. That men are only wicked and predatory and narcissistic and manipulative and controlling. It's bullshit. It's lies and it's bullshit, and it's a dangerous sentiment that keeps creeping into our media. The film, summarized, is about an abusive relationship. The man brings a woman into his life and he treats her so sweet and nice some of the time, and other times he's criminally abusive. And so women can take this expensive snake venom perfume to forget the abuse and only remember the sweetness and the nice times. But it's all a facade, because underneath, he's still a wicked man that says he's sorry, but he'll punch another hole in the drywall. Just you wait. And then you gotta spray the potion again to forget. But I'm sorry doesn't matter and doesn't mean anything when the man is inherently a monster. That's the movie. Talking about this is difficult because at least one woman you know has experienced the brutality of a wicked man. It might be yourself. And I'm not going to discredit or infer that that experience was any less real than it was. Many men are wicked. They are. They'll destroy everything and everyone they touch. Dark, tetrad-minded men are the most dangerous men. But you know what keeps narcissist men like that in check? Men who've come face to face with that side of themselves and decided that's not who they are. They're capable of caring for other people. Men who care are the strongest men because they're willing to take on the narcissists. What this film misses is that women are capable of dark tetrad traits too. And women abuse men too. But when people say, oh, men are abused too, it's white noise, and no one cares because of how disproportionately women are abused more than men. And you get movies like this, that the message is that all men are wicked and that women must become as wicked, if not worse, to overcome the obstacle. There is definitely no other options like raising our youth differently to be better than ourselves to stop these problems. No, it's a blanket statement of there be monsters out there, you'll have to become one yourself. Just as the female protagonist does at the end of this film. The story resolves with her drugging up evil white man Channing Tatum. Everyone else on the island is dead except for one other survivor who female protagonist off-screen tells that she's going to do this drugging of Channing Tatum to take over his billion-dollar empire. That's how the movie ends. And I know you could be thinking, hey, Wizard, it's just a shitty movie that will be here today and gone tomorrow. Why get so worked up if it's going to flop and everyone will forget about it? Because as I was walking out of the theater I was in, two young women walking out behind me said, wow, that was so good. And that broke my heart, you know? These are young girls who just got a 2-hour heavy-handed message that all men are wicked and included 3 monologues, 2 of which were about how women don't take care of each other, going as far as to use the words believe all women very loudly with pauses between those words, and one other monologue in the finale with Channing Tatum screaming about how I'm sorry doesn't actually mean anything. That men saying I'm sorry is only ever just a lie. And these girls are going to take that and hopefully it doesn't inspire them to do awful things. Media and stories inspire people in unpredictable ways, and you just never know. Here, let's role play. I want you to analyze what your immediate reaction is when I say to you, I was abused. Yes, me, the Wizard, the bald guy who is 6'4", runs his own business, and is well-spoken. I found myself sitting 2,500 miles away from home in an abusive relationship. See, the word abuse was not in my vocabulary. I never thought it could happen to me, so upon the luck of me having walked down to the grocery store alone and taking a call from a close friend who happened to be a child therapist, when I explained my situation, he very awkwardly said, I can't professionally say this to you, but if what you're telling me is true, that's abuse, man. And like that, the veil was lifted. But me, still being me, I was dedicated to seeing this through and giving one more shot, and one more shot, and one more shot. Each day losing more and more of myself, thinking I could make this work. Until eventually a window appeared for me to escape, and I fled. I ran away. And while the story didn't end there, even being across the country, I still had to keep my guard up, because it was a psychological war. But I still had to go home and face everyone in my life as a shattered and broken man. And everyone got to see me completely vulnerable, emotional, and mentally wounded. Since then, I've been in therapy a few times, even needing medication briefly because I just couldn't handle it. Me, the giant man with the broad shoulders, was petrified to be seen by people I've never met, never will meet, and never will see again just from going to Costco. It still sneaks up on me from time to time, and years have passed since. And I'm not saying this as someone who wants to be viewed as a victim, or that I'm looking for sympathy. I'm trying to make the point. What was your immediate reaction? Was it that I'm a loser? Or I'm weak? Or that I should stop complaining? Get over it, perhaps? Was your reaction disgust that you'll never watch this channel again for me admitting something like that? I couldn't blame you if any of those were your genuine reactions. And I actually don't want you to answer this. You don't have to put anything in the comments. This was a thought exercise. Point being, for most people to hear a man confess to mentally, emotionally, physically, or any other kind of abuse he sustained at the hand of a woman, he's immediately looked down upon by the majorities of our society. Now, if after hearing me confess this experience, I then said, all women are abusers, you'd think that's ridiculous, right? Because it would be a lie. Like, even if I personally believed it, even if I thought it was true, it would still be untrue. Well, it's the same thing when you say all men are abusers. So taking it back to this shitty film, which resolved by saying, to fight monsters, you must yourself become one. You must inflict pain onto those who've hurt you. That would be like me wanting to hurt the one who hurt me. And that's just not true. Because I'm a guy, like many men who've come face to face with that possibility of darkness, with the option to become just as awful as they are. And my choice is no. I want nothing for them but peace and happiness. Now, it's not easy to walk away saying that. What happened to me is nothing compared to what happens to unfathomable others, nor would I try to make that comparison. Instead, let me ask you to reject these ideas of blanket, dangerous, and untrue stigmas. They will do more damage than they seek to combat. Thank you.